Hello, vinyl community. So last night I went to a show at Adobe Books in San Francisco, and they have a regular program where they put on concerts of experimental music, and both of the acts last night had vinyl LPs for sale, so I thought I would tell you about those. The first act that performed was billed as Fyrtu, and that was spelled Fyrhtu. Don't ask me. But the female half of the duo was the one who had the records. It was two people performing, Nathan Verrill on voice and electronics, and Layla Abdul Rauf, who did vocals, electronics, trumpet, and guitar. And Layla's album is called Diminution. Now, if you're a composer or if you know about music theory, diminution is a concept in music where you take a musical idea, a melody or a theme, and shorten the notes. So you might have a theme in quarter notes like bum, 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 and then you could take it from quarter notes to eighth notes like bum, 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 bum. That's diminution. And this is, as the cover might suggest, very dark. The music performed at Adobe Books was more intense than this. It was very dense sonically. There was a lot going on, and it changed pretty quickly. This is more sparse, both vertically and horizontally, by which I mean horizontally in terms of events not happening as fast. It's things are more flowing, and vertically in terms of the actual sonic texture is not so dense. So this is very, you might say, gothic, very ethereal. Everything is drenched in reverb. When she plays trumpet in particular, it sounds like it's miles away. When I spoke to her about her music, one word that she used in reference to a different album on CD was cinematic, and I think you do get some of that on this album. There is a pictorial element to it. Very dark. The lyrics are not readily intelligible. This does contain an insert with lyrics, but you don't really hear it as sung words. It's more along the lines, I would compare it in a way to the Cocteau Twins, where there are words that are just on the edge of intelligibility, and you listen to it more as pure sound, but there are words here. Quite dark. Again, this picture is kind of disturbing and fits in with the first vocal piece, which is called Life Leaving. So, I don't mean to make it sound like it's a downer album. It's a great album, very flowing and spaced out. So if you like that kind of electronic sound, more on the ambient tip, that's something I would recommend. And the second artist who performed last night was Cruel Diagonals, which is a one-woman project by Megan Mitchell, and her album is called Disambiguation, and if you use Wikipedia you've run into that word, and that's an artifact of her studies in library science. It's mentioned in the liner notes in here that she recently got her master's in library science. This is in a way very similar to the Layla Abdul Rauf album in that it's a lot of ethereal vocals. This has beats to it, though the dynamic level is consistently quiet through the album, so it's not a dancey type of album. She's using samples of ethnic percussion and having little slipstreams going on. The vocals are mostly wordless, and this does have that kind of ethereal quality in common with the Layla album, but a different attitude. This is dark in places, but I think more of it is sweet. There is a sense of intimacy to the voice where it's not placed in the distance and coming from a great hillside. It's more personal. This is a nice package. It comes with both a regular inner sleeve, a lined inner sleeve, protective inner sleeve, and a printed inner sleeve. There is a digital download card included and a poster. Megan is also a graphic artist, and this is not part of the album, but this is a print that she gave me when I bought the album, and the poster is based on this, only square. So, again, this is very recommended if you are into that kind of spacey, experimental, ambient sound. When I got home from the concert, there was another LP on my doorstep, and that was Pig Views by Regal Worm. There's going to be a big buzz about this album. This is going to be one of the big prog rock releases of the year. This is another one-person project. This is the music of Jared Gosling. And apparently, he also is responsible for this cover art, which I think is fantastic. Brilliant cover. It's a double LP, not a gatefold, but it does contain an insert and is on wonderful pink vinyl. Ooh, ah. And being a mostly one-man project, there are a few guest musicians, a couple of saxophone players contribute, some guest vocalists are on here, but there is a long list of the instruments that Jared Gosling himself plays, and first thing on this list of like 24 instruments at least is mellotron. So, okay, prog as hell. And it really is something that the prog rock fans are going to delight in. I would compare it mostly to the more modern prog sounds like Bent Knee and Thank You Scientist, but it just has more of the vintage prog sound without really sounding like any of the first generation progressive rock groups. Probably the closest would be Gentle Giant, and that's only a pretty loose comparison. There is a brief moment where it sounds like he's doing, with some high-pitched la-la vocals, a bit of a spoof of Yes. There's a female vocal bit that sounds a bit like Renaissance meets Kate Bush. But mostly quite original, very intense, a lot going on all the time, ever-changing. And it does get a little repetitive at points. Sprinkled throughout the album, there are a lot of spots where he gets hooked into a groove and maybe sticks with it a bit too many times. But very recommended to the prog rock fans. So that was yesterday. That's my report. I hope you're all doing well, and talk with you again soon. Bye-bye.